the members of the press, my colleagues that are here, please accept my gratitude for taking off time to be a part of this press conference. My name is Lawrence Alionzi. Some people refer to me as Dangote. I am a practicing electrical engineer. I am, by the grace of God, the 88th Guild President of Makerere University. I am also the next mayor of Arua City. Now, I have humbly requested the members of the press to be here so that I can make it known over the hills and the valleys that I am now a member of the National Resistance Movement. And as such, I will be seeking the office of Mayor of Arua City on the ticket of NRM. By the time of this conversation, and to be specific, on Monday, I was received at the NRM Secretariat by the Secretary General of the Mighty Movement and the Director for Finance and Administration and my colleagues at Plot 10 in Kampala. That was the first and the most important thing I wanted to communicate. The second is that, perhaps it might not be news now, it does me no harm to say, I will also be running for Mayor of Arua City. But that conversation or that assertion is incomplete to me without saying why I am actually running for Mayor. One is that in my opinion, there is a politically motivated and ill ethnic lines that politicians are toiling in Arua City. And whereas they are doing this for political motivations, the consequences transcend politics. They affect service delivery. It is also my opinion that development is almost incapable without also cohesion. I've often told people that in Tanzania, if the government pronounced that people should plant tomatoes, you will wake up tomorrow when majority of people have planted tomatoes. That can only happen if there's social cohesion among the people. And therefore, for me, it is very important to deal with this unwarranted, unfounded ethnicity to allow for one people. In fact, people oftentimes refer to it as tribalism, but I don't think it is tribalism. It is a clanism and a villagism because we are one tribe. Somebody must sort this mess before it becomes a problem. I am offering to be the face of the resistance to deal with this problem. The second issue is the issue of a city. Now, whether we call ourselves a city or a district, people have been wanting me to pronounce myself on that, but whether we call ourselves a city or a district, the truth is we are growing. And we are growing into a powerful economic center. What people might not realize is that Arua City is the most unique city. Now, that can be an opportunity or it can be a problem. Arua City is bordered by DRC, is bordered by South Sudan, but Arua City is only 3 countries away from Nigeria, which is the most populated country on the continent. Now, how we use this entirely depends on the leaders that we have. So the issue of my campaign of running for mayor is almost a question that how are we preparing ourselves for the opportunities that will come with this young city? And how are we bracing ourselves for the challenges that will also come with it? Now, the opportunities are immense. One of them could be to build the most thriving inter-border economy on the continent, tapping into South Sudan and DRC that are at a lower economic potential than we are. In physics, we say electrons flow from an area of higher potential to an area of lower potential. How then do we as a city position ourselves to make sure that our economy benefits from the South Sudan, DRC, and in the future from Nigeria, that especially the first two that are at a lower economic potential? So the opportunity is to build the most thriving inter-border business. The other opportunity, I know we are an enterprising community in Arua City. We're not an agricultural community largely. Very few people dig around here. The other opportunity is to build a cottage industry of value addition. That for your job may not now be to plant G-nuts, but you buy G-nuts, you package them, and you sell them into DRC. Value addition. Our people are already doing that. Women are already going to the neighboring markets and buying G-nuts and coming to sell them here. How do we help them to add value, to increase the prices so that they fit into the city standard of products? That opportunity is a very young population. Now I have told the young people this, and this is best comes out. I know this is the time to say it in English, but this best comes out in vernacular. To the young people, you can't deal you are per zero, you are about mesela zereberizu, or you are thinking Masadri about pay, as of you and variable. The young people of Arua City, this young population is an opportunity, but it can also be a problem. Having so many young people is the equivalent of carrying a very sharp knife. If you have something to cut with that knife, the knife is an opportunity. You do work with it. But if you have nothing to cut with that knife, it becomes a problem. If you come home in the evening and your wife is carrying a knife, if she deals in banana cutting and what, you will not be worried. But if your wife has nothing to do with knives and she doesn't even cook, and you see her with a knife, you will take off. Because you don't know what she might use the knife for. Most recently, there has been an incident of people snatching phones in town. Personally, I was a victim when I was standing with a colleague. In my experience, none of those people was aged above 30. Now, that is what happens if you do not put your young people to work. So we must take deliberate efforts to put our young population to work. Now, this is a very long shot. And I'm not saying that having become mayor 1 week into, young people will have jobs, no. I am saying we'll add more than one brick onto that conversation. Because then it is the obligation of any functional economy. Sometimes people say some things, these young people these days are very lazy. We are very creative. For me, when I finished school, I got a job immediately. They forget one important fact, that during their time, if you went to school, you were the only educated one in the village. That is no longer the case. Even if you went to university now, you'll be more than one in your village. And all of you without jobs. So that is a very lame excuse. And I think it's rather arrogance than reason. Because it is the duty of every functional economy to create jobs for these young people, not as charity, but because young people can significantly contribute using their energy to the economy. And we intend to build a sustaining economy in Arua City, that all of us can be proud of this place and can have a place here, that all of us can come to town and go back in the evening with the kavera in their hands. So these among many which can be summarized into the issue of deliberate actions taken to promote social cohesion or unity, to facilitate development and ease the enrollment of government programs, so that if it is Kimnas saying something, then the people who lie on the different side of the political aisle do not look at it as a bad idea. The second issue is preparation for the opportunities that will come with this city. I told people that even before you were named the city, there were already so many people from Central and Odramachako that you would almost look for the indigenous people. That is an indication of development, regardless of our nomenclature. So we need to prepare for the opportunities, and we as a people need to brace ourselves for the challenges, among which is garbage. We are not even halfway to where we're supposed to be, but there's already a problem of garbage in this city. But you see, garbage is only garbage to a garbage mind. To a creative mind, garbage is actually a resource. For example, as an engineer, I know that you can separate, you can improve garbage collection so that degradable, that's a maprar matabambando, that's a mapikur matabatando, mapikur badujiangondwa, maprar badujiangondwa. So the degradable waste is taken to and turned into money, and the city can sell that and use that money to increase the pay of the people that actually sweep the town. Somebody told me, when a poor man works for you, make sure his money is kept very close. As soon as he's done working, pick this one and give it to him. In Arua City, our cleaners are one of the least paid. Not only are they least paid, they have also not been paid for 5 months. Yet if we did this simple thing, perhaps we could have averted this problem sustainably for a long period of time. And now the non-degradable waste, you take it into incineration, you burn it. And the steam that comes out of it is turned to electricity that you add to the national grid. And the city will not only stabilize its electricity, this now is a long-term plan, but the city will also benefit in the event that we give the national grid more and the national grid gives us, the city should be paid to improve revenue, so that some of these things are done by ourselves. When you go to some place, they will tell you this road, the city cannot do anything because this is a ministry road. That's the word they use. But so you cannot keep watching as things unfold in your face very ugly, and you keep calling it a responsibility of central government. The central government has its weaknesses that we need to work upon. But the Bible says if you can't be trusted with small things, you can't be trusted with big ones. So the conversation we're having is, how have we taken care of the little that we have? And at the end of all these things, I told women that the wives of a rich man do not fight. It is only the wives of a poor man who fight. If you're married to a rich man and you fight and he chases you away, are you going to leave all this wealth behind? So sometimes we're all in this mess because of people lack the economic stamina to ascend to a certain level of reasoning, but also of political participation, which is why it is our biggest obligation to increase household income. I know the government has put programs. I told somebody that our problem is not the insufficiency of government programs, but the efficiency of the existing government programs. What has actually PDM done? So while I said our biggest problems are three: poverty, illiteracy, and disease, these are nurtured by corruption. And therefore we should first start by cleaning house. So when you look at our materials that are circulating around, we are calling ourselves the cleaner. We're not talking about cleaning garbage. Yes, that is in the manifesto. But we're talking about cleaning house. So that when we say water should flow to Youthful, there's no blockage blocking it on its way. So these, among very many, are why I have looked past the challenges of this election, like finances, the monetization of politics, but also the non-hygienic politics people practice these days. I have looked beyond all this into what I think is a cause, not just for me, but for very many young people. I told the team that I move with that I am only but the face of this new idea. And if indeed the time for this idea has come, then nobody will be able to stop it. So I had deliberately requested the press to be here to make known these two important facts. One, that I am now a fully fledged and bona fide member of the NRM, and I am running for mayor of Arua city as such, seeking the NRM ticket for the aforementioned reasons. That has taken so long. I thought even it was going to be your first question as journalists to me when I sat here. I am surprised you have been patient enough to ask it only at this time. It is true that previously I was affiliated to the National Unity Platform, the NUP, and I have made a move. And to any sober mind, the question perhaps that aches in people's hearts is the why. Now, many times when people ask this question, they expect me to have something bad to say about NUP. That maybe I had a problem there, that I saw something bad, or I was dissatisfied. That is not the case. I have nothing ill to say about the NUP. I walk away from the opposition with a very grateful heart and with a lot of respect for the opposition. And with a lot of intention to continue to work with the opposition where necessary. The reason for moving into NRM is not a push away from opposition, but a pull into NRM. And the pull is double-fold. One, it occurred to me at this stage of my political career that what we call the struggle is not to oust somebody out of power. Those are my people in West Nile. Our struggle is not against a person or against a group of people. Our struggle is against the three things I mentioned: poverty, illiteracy, and disease. Secondly, it also occurred to me that on the political arena, there are three kinds of people. There are spectators, people who just watch. Either they have a silent comment or none. They are political commentators. They have something to say. Many times they're even heard. Maybe they're not listened to, but they are heard. They have something to say. And then there are political players, people who actually make a contribution, whether negatively or positively. I realized that I had been a political commentator, and my move was made to make sure that I become a political player to make my contribution to the three threats to the lives of my people. This is the only reason I crossed from NUP into NRM and nothing else. Now, you asked whether I have spoken to the president of NUP. No, I haven't. But if there's the opportunity, I would love to engage him on these facts that I have mentioned and also hear his thought. To some young people who have been a part of my political journey on the other side of the political aisle and perhaps felt some sense of disappointment, I completely understand. Many of you perhaps had the interest that I continue to be in the opposition because then you are in opposition. I understand. But our comradeship did not stem from politics. And my prayer and hope is that it will transcend politics. It is okay for adults to disagree on some things. Even with your father, you don't agree on everything. Perhaps you wanted the house to be painted. If you're a girl, you wanted the house to be painted pink. But because you're not the owner of the home, your dad paints it black. But that does not make them less of a parent to you, and should not erase your love for your parents. Because as adults, we are meant to disagree. But what I think is really important is actually, why am I actually running for mayor? Because whether I was on opposition or NRM, these were the same things I was going to push for. And therefore, I thought we are affiliating or we are relating not on the basis of political party, but on the basis of these issues that actually matter. And I hope people that are disappointed can look beyond the disappointment into these real issues, and we face them as a whole. And the truth of the matter is that these things are presented are colorless. They know no political boundary. Because whether you are NRM or you are NUP or you are FDC, hunger knows no political party. Whether, regardless of your political color, the ethnicity being practiced knows no political color. And the things I am talking about that can ultimately become a problem know no political color. The things I am pushing for are not in any way exclusive to a particular political party. Perhaps I'll use this chance to invite everybody to join in the conversation, even you, the members of the media. If perhaps some of the things I am saying, given your experience in the media, is not true, please, I invite you to contribute. If you see reason, but perhaps the detailing is not exactly correct, I invite you to be a part of this conversation so that we make this a solid thing. And this invitation extends to members of the opposition, to members of NRM, everybody. The cleaner is actually not a person. The cleaner is a group of people who believe in a better Arua city, by the common people, for the common people. Thank you, my brother.
There has been this division in terms of the people of Aivu who demand district, while another section is demanding for more divisions. And this has played a role in different political actors on where you stand. There are those who say if you don't stand with us for the district, then they are not going to be for you. There are those who stand for the division. In your aspirations, Arua City was granted, it was an instrument of parliament and government. What would you stand for?
Thank you, my brother. You have sort of helped me even to answer the question in your last statement. There are places I've gone to, people have just told us, just say you support district, or I'll vote for you.
What have you said?
I'm going to. Then some people say, just say you support city, or I'll vote for you. So the question has been, are you pro-city or are you pro-district? I told them, I am pro-people. See, the easier thing to do would have been to go to even and tell the people, I support a district. I come to where they like this, I tell them I support a city. The challenge with this confusion is what is written in the Bible. He who kills by the sword dies by the sword. The truth is that it is not the mandate of a local government to create a district out of a city or a city out of a district. That is not the mandate of a local government. And whoever is moving around telling the people that I will give you a district is a liar. And or maybe he tends to be both a mayor and a member of parliament, because that is the only way. Like you said, the creation of this was an action of parliament, and its reversal can only be an action of parliament. But perhaps as a leader in this place, this is my take. Like I said, whether your nomenclature is a city or your nomenclature is a district, I think what is really important is what do our people stand to benefit. How then do we prepare for them? Because, for example, the city stops here in terms of political boundaries here at the water, isn't it? But are the people past the water really immune to challenges of the city? Do those people really think that they will be exempted from the consequences of the city? If we even pronounce ourselves as saying tomorrow, let the city stop here at Ediofe, the people that lie immediately after Ediofe, are those people truly immune to the consequence of the city? So I think what is really important, what is really a conversation, is how do we prepare, regardless of what our name is, how do we prepare our people for the opportunities that come with the growth of this place and the challenges that come with it, instead of participating in a fight over what we are called, which I think, but this is not to disregard entirely the people that are pushing for a district. Might look like I am district. In fact, no. In fact, the opposite is that I see some sense in what these people are saying. Because you see, when you read through the Local Government Act, the sub-county is the equivalent of a division. So that means if you migrated from a district status into a city status, then sub-counties migrate to be divisions. Now what has happened in Aivu is that 7 sub-counties have been collapsed into one division. So much so that the people down in Riki now have to access the stamp of the mayor from Onduparaka. The transport can be more than what you are actually pushing for. This I recognize. This I recognize. But to say that the solution to this thing is a city, is a district, is what is tricky, because it looks like a walk against government's policy of decentralizing power, or of sort of moving from. Because look, urbanization is not a luxury. From the time man started organizing himself in the villages, urbanization has been a means of human survival. But the other challenge that I also recognize in this thing was consultation. I told people one time government went to Karamoja and built pit latrines in every home. By the time of this conversation, in Karamoja, there's almost a pit latrine at every home. But also by the time of this conversation, there's still somebody in Karamoja who is not using that pit latrine and defecating outside. And the reason was that people were not consulted, because there was a cultural context to that issue. In Karamoja, where an elder has gone, a child cannot now go there. A child cannot now go there. And so for that reason, there will be a pit latrine at home, but only one person uses it. The most elderly person uses it. So there could have been better consultation of the people to brief them, because look, the people are only reacting rightly to their fears about the coming of the city, and I do not blame them. But I think we as a people need to engage. There is a politician I like who told me that if we as a people are able to sit down, however angry we are, if somebody is able to facilitate a conversation between the two factions that are saying for city and against the city, which is exactly what I intend to do, that look, regardless of how angry you are, let us sit down and talk and unleash our anger on each other. But when we walk out of that meeting, let us walk out as Arua city. And the solution may not come today. We will not even agree in that meeting. We will not agree in the next one or the one after that. But for as long as we keep engaging and finding a common ground, we will eventually arrive at a common ground that favors everybody, that helps us to own this place as our own.
Many times we have lost or failed to elect good leaders because of monetization of politics. And many young people face challenge because they do not have adequate, if I can use the word, adequate money to reach out to the electorates. And this has made us see leaders who are not competent go to either parliament, any other position in local government. How prepared are you for the aspect of monetization of politics? Because it has started playing and it has a huge role in leadership perspective.
I am prepared to prepare the people for this election. What you're saying is outrightly true. In fact, I have been in a conversation where they have told me, they said, one, you're capable, you're eloquent, you have clarity of thought and even purity of heart, but you don't have the money. So we are going to win you with the money. But this is my message, not to those that intend to bring them, to the people that money is going to be brought. Money is like food that you eat. Once it enters your system, it must leave. I just want you to ask yourself, where do you think the person giving you money will get back his money from? How is he going? Because the salary of the mayor of Arua city after taxes comes to about 1,500,000, 1.5. But somebody is at a rally giving 900,000. How many rallies are there? So the person is spending close to 100 million in an election. How is the person going to get this money back? The person is going to get back their money from Mango Road that is not finished up to now. The person is going to get back their money from the insufficiency of drugs in the hospitals. The person is going to get back the money. When younger people come to ask for jobs, they tell you your paper is too light, put a stone on it to add weight. That is where he's going to get back his money. But you see, the power ultimately lies in the people. If their decision is to continue receiving money to cast their votes, then there may be nothing that I can do. But perhaps what I seek to offer are these realities. But look, I also get the people we might have made the people so poor that it becomes impossible for them to look beyond 1,000. So the problem does not entirely go up to the people. I told them when I was in primary 3, my mother used to make this local brewery called Kwete. Now the original Kwete is taken to town to sell at Krabu. So they leave behind the second hand of the Kwete called Idzi. So we used to come back. When I reached Edefe boys in P3 now, I used to go back to school in the afternoon. So when I will go back home, sometimes I will find that sister of mine when they have finished taking that thing. And so I have to come back to school hungry. So what I will do is I will get my mother's, one of her clothes, that soccer. I tie my stomach, then I put a uniform on it and go back to class. What I'm requesting people of Arua City is that let us fasten our hungry stomachs for these few months and actually do the right thing. Because look, it is very possible. After all, these people give you money for these few months and abandon you for 4 years. You don't die. You don't die. So we should not make it look like with that money of politicians we shall not reach the next year. You have been surviving on your own, and you actually can. You actually can. I would have said when they bring money, you eat it, but money has its own power. You cannot really guarantee what the person is going to do after receiving the money. So we start the corruption as the voters ourselves during the voting process. When we receive, if somebody comes back and buys water, that is reasonable. But if somebody at a rally that has 100 people gives 900,000, then the voter must be bothered. The voter must be bothered. Where is the person going to get back his money? Like I said, money is like food. If you have eaten it, it must find where to live. So the question for all of us is, where is the person going to get back their money? But my brother, I recognize that is a challenge. And I have faced it even while I move in the field. But you see, sometimes when you have a cause, if you're really focused on where you want to walk, then the thorns may not be that important because you want to get there. And if these things I am saying, if they are the time for this idea I have said, regardless of the lack of money that we have, these things will come true. And next year I will be mayor of Arua City. I can tell you that. I wanted to respond to the issue of my age. There is a common misconception in the public that if you are an old man, then you're wise. But the truth is, wisdom does not necessarily come with age, because even fools grow old. So my first wish is that the people of Arua City will look beyond age. People of Arua City will look beyond the lack of a big stomach that I have. They look beyond my short height into what I am actually offering. And the same thing will apply to the candidates. Perhaps some of the candidates are also not very good looking. Look beyond the ugliness to what they actually say, and examine people for what they stand to offer. That is my first wish. My second wish is that the people of Arua City this time round abandon petty differences like tribe and religion, and realize that even Muslims practice their faith better if the leadership is better. Catholics practice their faith better if leadership is better. So regardless of your religion or age or tribe, all of us need good leadership. Let us look beyond these things. Thirdly, my last wish is that, you see, in democracy, the people decide who leads them and how they should be led. Oftentimes people only stop at electing, then they sit back and expect from the leader. Be part of the leadership. Be part of the leadership. One unique thing I will offer is that at the end of every financial year, the office of the mayor will do the mayor's tours in every of the 9 former sub-counties. That's the people. Look, this is how we spent your money the past financial year. What do you think? If there are insults, they hail them at us, but we'll get the chance to be corrected. But the people need to know. Because look, government is a poor thing. Government doesn't have businesses. When you buy salt for 1,000, the actual price could have been 800. That 200 is tax that you're actually giving. Madam Sorobe. So that is your money. And you deserve to know how it is being spent. So the people should participate in the leadership of the city. The people should participate. I was very happy when I saw cleaners march to the office of the mayor. The next time, let teachers who will not receive the money, let them march to the office of the mayor or the office of the district education officer. Let the people participate in the leadership. Don't just elect people and leave them to be there. the people, my last wish that the people should participate in the leadership of this place. And these things are not exclusive to the mayor or to the office of the mayor. Because look, even if you voted for a very good mayor, but your MPs were sluggish, or councillors are sluggish, there's very little the mayor can do. But if there are 3, 4, 5 sound heads, it becomes possible to do the right thing. So perhaps that will be my wish to the people. When it comes to the joint campaigns, I am praying to God that they happen. Every night I pray that the joint campaigns do happen. Because only then the people can weigh us on the same platform. Because sometimes when you stand, somebody is standing on a stool, you may think the person is actually tall. Only when you put them on the ground is when you realize that, hey, look, this is actually a short man. So I am praying to God that they are joint campaigns. I want to seek the NRM government, the NRM party, to please organize for us joint campaigns. I am hoping that they are. So for that, I am as prepared as any human being can get. When it comes to standing behind, it comes back to the issue of the campaign. When it comes to standing behind, what I have prepared are two things: the clarity of my thoughts and the purity of my intentions. And based on this, I am convinced that the people of Arua City will see reason in the things I am saying. And the lines will be so long that they will request the opponents to shift aside so that our people can line up where they are standing. To my brother, on the issue of trust, when you ask any politician this question, their quickest answer will be, oh, you can trust me. I am very trustworthy. The Bible says they will be known by the fruits of their work. Now, so I want to refer to the works I have done before. I left the office of Guild President of Makerere University without a new phone, without a car, even without a new girlfriend. I remained with my old girlfriend. So that's me by the fruits of my work. Secondly, I am an electrical engineer with a degree from Makerere University. Before I resigned to run for mayor, I worked as a managing director for an engineering company. My salary was more than 3 times the salary of the mayor of Arua City. So I am not looking for a job. I am not looking to build wealth out of this office. If anything, for me this is my contribution to my people, because at the end of the day, our people believe when you get lucky, then it's because your people wish you well. And so when the people at home request you to offer yourself, it is almost imperative. And we have often said, I told people I almost became a priest. I went to Pocket Seminar for 4 years. I would have been a parish priest in Ethiopia and out of this tough thing of yours. And in Pocket we used to say Vox Populi, Vox Dei, that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Interesting question is the other one that you asked about, why not MP? People said you're being a former guild president, you're being a national leader, the mayor makes 1.5 million, the MP makes over 25 million. Why don't you actually run for MP? Yes, I could have chosen to run for MP, but then in my opinion, charity begins at home, and for me there's much more work for me to do here in local government than in parliament. There's much more work. Our parliament is bloated. Our parliament is the parliament is like that. There's very little space. MPs, you blame MPs for not speaking, but there are 500 people, over 500 people. How much time will you even get to speak? People only come and speak during the time for national importance. In my opinion, for me, in my character, there will have been very little I have done as an MP. There will have been very little. But there's so much I can do in local government. And many times people ignore local government because perhaps there's not so much money in it. But there's a lot somebody can do. And I've said local government is like, if we all went for hunting and we hunted an elephant, the elephant has now been brought on the compound of our village leader. How we share that elephant now depends on the local government. So what goes where, and does it actually do that work? So that's why I think it is, for me it's first important that the little the local government in Arua city receives is first appropriated well and a good system, so that when I eventually become an MP and I go and lobby for more, that more can go to the right place. But even if I become an MP now and do the best of my lobby, yet at local government level there still misappropriation, then the people will not feel the impact. Just like many of you do not feel the impact of some of these MPs, even the good ones, because there's a challenge at the resource distribution at local government level. So that is why I chose to leave money in parliament to come for the no money, but so many problems at local government. My strength is that I have been privileged to serve, and I have served, because sometimes I told people that, and even if you convinced all of us that you come from a very long lineage of witch doctors, that your grandfather, great-grandfather were very successful witch doctors and herbalists, will still not let you become a what? A doctor. Will expect you to go to medical school for 5 years. Or if you are so good at speaking and dispensing knowledge, will still not let you become a distant unless you have gone to NTC or PTC or a college of education. But many times we expect the leader who is in charge of all these people to figure it out on the job. I have served in one of the highest levels in this country. I served as guild president of Makerere University, and the first one to do so from West Nile. Not because I had the money, not because I was even handsome enough to compete with the other people. My opponent in the election was this one running on NRM. As you can see, he's better looking than I am and bigger than I am. Not because I had money to splash, but because I had already, even in student leadership, had a very clear pattern of result-oriented leadership. So that means, in my opinion, my strengths are two. One is that I have at the national stage been groomed for leadership, sort of tailor-made for leadership. That if I did anything else, I'm a very good electrical engineer. I can show you in mid-Nazigas. But the best thing I do is leadership, because I have had the chance to serve at very various levels, including that highest stage. And you know that people who have served at Makerere as guild presidents have gone to become national leaders in this country. We could talk Norbert Timao, we could talk Mukasa Mbide, we could talk Julius Kambarage Nyerere, we could talk Nkwame from Nkrumah, we could talk so many other people who have served as guild, who have gone to become leaders. Secondly is that I have had a track record. So I have done this before, of result-oriented leadership. At Makerere University, we halted. I knew I came from a poor family, so my first attack was on tuition increment. I halted tuition increment because they were increasing fees cumulatively, and I was going to be at a point where if you are poor, you will not go to Makerere University. I fought for that. Surcharge on late payment, I fought for that. I opened room for academic freedom. Up to now, when you go to Makerere University, you will find Mark Guild dialogues where people come for public debate. I host the secretary generals of all political parties. I said, you are confusing us young people. Debate your political ideas. Let us hear. All major political parties were represented. Semu Juganda, Richard Todong, Lewis Rubongoya, Mukasa Mbide of DP, Ali Salas of ANT. All of them were there. So I have done this before, and I can do it again in a rush. Except this time I will be doing it in more love, because I'm doing it for my own people. So for me, this will be personal, and the people should expect results. But no man is without mistakes. One, my first weakness is that I do not have money to run this election the way people usually run it, or even to send away journalists here with you, how they usually send you away. My second weakness is that I'm a perfectionist. So I love things to be done very well. Chances are I will clash with people who don't do things well. That's another weakness that I have. I will only say to, because even Jesus did not kill himself, so I will not shoot myself in the foot by giving a very long list of my weaknesses. Those two should serve as it.